Hi everyone. So I'm truly thrilled today and I'm very excited. I have a very special guest. You know what? I can actually write an entire book on her introduction. So today I have with me the one and only Ms. Mamta Binani. She is the MSME Development Forum for West Bengal. She's also a very distinguished lawyer. She is the president for the Asian African Chamber of Commerce and Industry for West Bengal and Northeast, and she's the first insolvency professional in India. So there are so many things to her, so many feathers to her hat. Welcome,
Hi,
Mamta
thank you.
ji. It's been truly a pleasure
Thank
to
you
have
so
this
much.
candid chat with you.
Thank
We
you.
were planning to do this for such a long time, but finally I got the opportunity to do this with you.
Pleasure is all mine.
So to begin with, Mamta ji, I wanted to ask you, in your early life, in your early
Right.
career, you've been a top student. At that time also you've seen success, as a child, and now you're seeing it in your professional career as well. Did you always wanted to get into this kind of a trade, or was there some other career path that you wanted to choose in your life, and then the stars aligned and it got you to this?
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be with you and chatting with you. And I'm sure this podcast will help people because as a female, I guess a lot of people just get deviated or they just don't know what they're looking for. And I think what you asked about my early life, I was also one amongst that. I did not really know what I wanted. Yes, I was good in studies. I was kind of a bookworm. And my friends always used to tell that, okay, you can just find her in the library. If she's not seen, then just go to the library, she'll be there. So I was the one who was very fondly, if you see the film Tare Zameen Par, if you see that child character,
Yeah.
he used to always he used to love paintings. So, his hand automatically used to move towards paintings. So I was that kind of a person who was always very intrigued by books. But in the early career, I was really not sure what I wanted to do, and that was not with me alone.
Okay.
That was the time, it was, maybe late 80s when I was just growing up and I was starting to go to the higher college, school, etc. That was a time when the female, especially in our Samaj, the Marwari Samaj, people used to not think much. So I was just moving with the flow. And probably I also knew that I'll get married early. So I was just, I was just seeing what is going to happen. And then some friends of mine suggested that, hey, we are doing CS. So would you like to do? And I just went like a herd, not as, one who was very decided. So some of the people were doing it in the group. So I thought, okay, let me also do it. And that is how I landed into the company secretary course.
Okay.
But commerce I took because I always liked accounts and commerce. I never liked mathematics, but numbers I used to like. So I think that quite gelled well. And when I admitted myself into the company secretary course, it was quite to do with law.
Yeah.
And law is always extended logic. And I always had a logical bent of mind, always. So I think that kind of gelled well with my undercurrent, with my DNA. And I performed well. I was all India topper in my CS examination.
You know what? I've been reading about you as well. You've helped so many women, in their journeys also, and you keep inspiring. You're such a model, inspiring model for them. But a lot of young women also in today's, especially the
Yeah.
Gen Zs, they want to start a career. They want to be independent. What are the kind of attributes, or what is the kind of suggestions or some tips you can give them, if early on in their career?
Yeah. $1 million question and $1 million ask. The first I'll be honest, the first qualification one should have is being perseverant rather. That is what I see is really not there in today's generation, because they feel that I'm doing something now and the result should come out immediately. It is actually, unfortunately, doesn't work like a 2-minute Maggi noodle recipe. So my first ask from them would be, first see what you want to do. And if it is not something which you are passionate about, then don't hesitate to change your field. Like I've seen people who change their field quite later because they feel, Dana, I have invested so much into this. I've spent 3 years of my life. I've spent 3 lakh of rupees. So I should be getting into it and be into it. I'm sure I'll find my love into it. But it doesn't happen that way. So if something is not appealing you in the first year or first 1.5 year, I think have the courage to change the sites. That's very, very important, and that really helps. Second is we should keep on talking to people to understand how it is faring, because what is good today may not be good tomorrow.
Right.
Look at what AI is doing today.
Yeah.
Some things which we knew is with me forever, and that's my skill set, and that will be, my guiding force for the entire of my life. But we've seen how suddenly AI has come, and people are now talking of saying that human beings' skill sets will become redundant because
Right.
AI is going to take over all of it.
Yeah.
So then what is it that we should do? We can't really outpace AI, but what I wish to tell you is we should kind of outpace ourselves. The magic is always that be at a competition with yourself. Be that stick who's always competing with yourself and want to grow bigger and bigger. And I guess every day you should look for a milestone. But at the same time, I'll be very candid to tell you that I have seen how youngsters, if they have too huge targets for themselves, gets into a kind of a shell if they are not able to do it. And that leads them to kind of boredom, or that's a very bad word, but let me just use it. They get into a shell where they don't want to come out of it, and it is called depression.
Right.
So I don't want that to happen. But having said that, sometimes I felt that this generation doesn't want to mingle with people.
True.
They're only mingling with their set friends, maybe 4, 5. That's it. They don't want to go to larger circles. But I feel that that's your source of understanding. The more you meet, you understand what's happening, and then you kind of remold yourself, relook at yourself.
But I think to add to that also, there's no shortcuts to success.
Absolutely.
In our generation,
That's
I would feel we are
understandable.
more patient.
Yeah.
And today, the new generation, I feel they need quick results.
Yeah, that's what I
You know?
said.
Yeah.
2-minute Maggie cannot happen.
Exactly. So truly, truly well said. Mamta ji, my next question would be, a lot of companies go bankrupt. What are the tips you would like to give them for to stay healthy, or how you help them rather in their businesses?
Yeah, thank you. That's my subject actually. So God has been very kind. God has endowed me with being the first insolvency professional of the country. And I also brought the first insolvency to the country, in the sense, first resolution rather, to the country. So what I have seen is, when you are let me just give you an anecdotal comparison, that when a person falls sick, the body actually starts giving you signals. I'm sure you will be able to say yes to this. Sometimes we just ignore the pain, or we ignore the negative part of what is coming out of the body, and we just feel, na eta bodhoy just ekhon hocche abar thik hoye jabe. But when it is returning, that means that something is wrong and we need to rush to the doctor. But we don't get the time to do it, and 2-3 years just gets by. And then when we go to the doctor says you are in with a big ailment, now get hospitalized, get operated, or do whatever. In insolvency, believe you me, it is exactly the same. When the company gets into stress, what is stress? When the cash flow statement and the fund flow statement doesn't match, which means in the cash flow statement, the incoming is less and the outgoing is more. So same with the fund flow statement. Fund flow statement tells you that your incoming is less, but your outgoing planned is much more, which means you are into stress, right? Therefore, when the management very, very well understands that my company is getting into stress, and the first signs of stress start showing in. But that's the time when we think to ourselves that we'll get along. This will happen. I'm going to wait through. The economy is going to look up, etc., etc. But you may do that maybe for 5, 8, 10 months. But beyond that, when we start doing it, it just piles up and gets into a situation where we are not able to surmount and come out with. Okay. And that is the time when we see that the government says that, look, since you as a management are not able to handle the company, let the banks who has lent you the public money take over your company, be the management through the insolvency professional, and look for a buyer who will now take over the company from you. You get removed and you get shed of all the powers, and somebody new will come and take over the company and will run the company, and all that will have to happen at a commercial price, so that banks gets back the money which it has lent to you, because you are not able to repay that loan. Now, what is the basic concept of doing this? In short, if I tell you, it is that the government says that the economy only booms better, does better, when the stuck assets starts coming into the economy and churns more and more. That means it changes hands more and more. The money that was stuck in the economy by way of bad loans and bad assets, the more it churns, it actually creates less inflationary pressures, because then government does not have to just print money, because that money gets circulated and the economy does well. So government brought this with a very laudable impact, and we have seen over the past few years that a lot of money which was stuck in the economy has come back into the system.
Yes.
And therefore, if you now see, the best barometer would be the prices of the banks shares that we see in the stock market. And you will see that for the few last 2-3 years, their bad loans have gone down tremendously. The NP levels have gone down tremendously, because the corporates the entrepreneurs have understood that आप अपने चादर से बाहर पैर मत फैलाइए, आप जितना कर सकते हैं आप उतना ही करिए. कभी कभी हमने पिछले सालों में देखा that people went into expansion mode like mad. So even if you do not have that appetite to take care of that expansion, but you thought it overly, and you were too over enthusiastic, and you got loans for that, and obviously when you do not probably are able to have a complete appetite of what you can digest, then it just starts throwing up.
So also I want to know, what is, according to you, the future of the MSME Indian economy, in terms of job creation also?
Okay.
What is, especially for the small businesses?
Nice question.
Especially for the small businesses, what do you feel, what does the future look like?
Oh, it's actually amazing. And I'm sure you're aware that India is one of the most largest ecosystems for the MSMEs. And not only India, it's actually there everywhere. But India, because of its sheer size and the governmental focus, MSMEs have been really brought up to the forefront. But having said that, MSMEs always existed. But when you actually kind of name a thing, and when you start showering special focus, for example, the old heritage buildings, just to draw an inference, it was always there, because we are not here. We are a very, very old civilization. But how will people get to know unless the government shows its focus? So, like we now have focus, we know what are heritage buildings, how it has to be conserved, preserved, etc. Similarly, MSME term has not been a very old coinage. Right. It's quite a new coinage, and that coinage has now helped, especially with the focus of a particular ministry, MSME ministry. The government has also shown to the citizenry that, hey, you are very, very, very important to me. Right. So if you probably see the numbers, today we have almost 6 crore MSMEs registered with the Udyam registration portal, and the employment it generates is about 11 crore plus.
Wow.
So it's not a very humble number. It's a huge number. So if that be the case, can I give you one more number by which you will really realize what are we talking of? MSMEs contribute almost 30% to the GDP of the nation.
Wow.
And 45% to the exports of India.
Okay.
45%, which means means half. It's almost half of the exports of the country. Yeah. So that means we are not talking of any kind of a Tom, Dick and Harry concept. Yeah. That means we are almost talking. So if I can give you another number, it will be very intriguing. Ministry of Corporate Affairs has almost 15 to 17 lakh companies, out of which it is said that 98% or 97%, or let's consider 95% of the companies are MSMEs.
Wow.
So that's the number that we're talking of.
That's a huge number.
That's a huge number.
Yeah.
So which means even this restaurant, I'm sure, and we're so grateful that they have they have opened up new, and it's called Madam G.
Yeah.
I'm sure I would like you to come and visit this. It is at 2 Lee Road. It's just near the Webhoff building. It's a newly opened restaurant. I'm sure it must be MSME registered. If it is not, I'm going to tell them today that you should get yourself as MSME registered, because MSME registration actually helps you to get to know what government schemes are coming, and government schemes then quite helps you to pep up your operations.
True.
Okay, and not only that, it organizes quite many exhibitions and seminars, the government of India, and for that matter, even our chief minister, she also encourages MSMEs like anything. Government of West Bengal is having the second largest ecosystem after UP, is what I understand, for MSMEs. So I am the MSME Development Forum West Bengal's president, and I wish to tell you that many schemes are there for MSMEs, but you have to be registered is number one. And number two, always remember that today's world is not doing business with unlimited liability. Through you, I wish to tell all of you that it's high time that we get into the company circuit. We should start having company kind of a outfit for us, so that we are not exposed to unlimited liability. Whenever we are wanting to expand our business, it's high time that you will not be able to really expand with your own money. How much can you put? How much will you have to put? So therefore, people always resort to banks and public financial institutions for pepping up their operations for working capital or for term loan. And that is the time when, if you are a partnership business or a sole proprietorship business, you really get exposed to unlimited liability. But if you are a company, then you are only getting exposed, your liability is only limited to your capital which you have not paid up as a part of your paid up capital. So through you, I really wish to tell all of my viewers that consider coming into the shape of a company, be it a small company or a one-person company. Even that works well.
Yeah, true. And what she rightly said, just be organized. It's very important to be organized in whatever you do, I think, in life.
Right.
So, truly well said. Mamta ji, also I want to know, you've been a part of so many prestigious boards. What are the kind of leadership, or what are the learnings that you have taken with you, during your tenure?
Yeah, no, thank you. Actually, God has been really kind. I must say that, because without His grace, nothing is possible. So learnings is one point that I really want to say is you have to be really well read. If you are sitting in a boardroom, not every time that the board will talk about Companies Act alone, or maybe SEBI laws. So the biggest learning that you asked me is, one has to be kind of jack of all and master of one.
Right.
Gone are the times my father used to always tell me that be master of one, and being jack of all doesn't help.
I heard that also all my life.
Yeah. But now I've seen that you have to be kind of knowing whatever happening in maybe Delhi, Berlin, US, what Sir Trump is doing, how is it going to impact, why is he sending people through mass deportation, what impact it's going to have, so on and so forth. So the biggest learning that I've gathered is that one has to be very much kind of on her or his toes to know the economic considerations that's going around, political things that's happening around, because that has a great impact on the working of the companies. For that matter, everything rather. And third, you have to know your subject very well. So if you are a company secretary, or if you're a corporate law expert, or if you're a lawyer for that matter, every time the board will kind of look up to you to guide them. And that is the reason why you're there. Right, you're just not there because you are so and so. You are there because you have a capability and qualities. So board, sometimes when they are coming to your subject, they will look up to you to really answer or to really guide them. So the moral of the story is we should know our subject very well.
True.
And fourth thing is, people just don't read before they go. They don't read the agenda. They are not aware of what is there in the file. So I would say, even if it means burning the midnight oil, one should go very well prepared and should know each and every line, because actually details lies So
Yeah.
devil lies in the details. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, devil lies in the details. So you should be very well aware where is what. And fifth is you should have a very, and this I say with responsibility, that you should have that ability to put your talks well, which means you should not be afraid or hesitant of kind of voicing your comments, because sometimes it may not be so palatable. But what I advise and do is I make it palatable.
Right.
Okay, you can say many things by not being rude or
Yeah.
by not being so straightforward, but you should know what you want to say, and that meaning should be conveyed well. Okay,
Right.
round and round is not correct, but at the same time you do not need to be rowdy to speak out what you want to.
Right, you won't believe it also when I have my meetings in the office, even I tell the same thing what you just said. When I have a sales team meeting or a,
Yeah.
thing with them, I tell them, when you go to the market, you are representing your company.
Yeah,
You're the
very
face of the company.
correct.
I'm not there. You're
Absolutely.
there. So you need to know inside out of the brand and the product.
Correct.
If you don't know it, then
How
the
will-
people will, just bully you around, and, so you should be actually a master of what you're selling as well.
Absolutely.
So what you said is also so correct.
And you are your own brand ambassador.
Exactly.
So therefore your conduct should be so good, your clothing should be so perfect.
Yeah.
And you should be very well manicured, etc. Because everything matters.
Right.
Everything is seen.
Right.
Everything is noticed.
Yes, of course.
So I've learnt that one should be very polished.
So now comes to a fun segment, Mamta ji. So we'll get on a lighter note and do a rapid fire round with you
Sure.
to know you more personally. We all know one side of you. Now this is going to be a different side of you
Okay.
that we want to
Okay, that's
explore.
a surprise.
So it's going to be very basic
Okay.
questions, but something which you probably will like.
Sure.
So to begin with, and these are very quick questions.
Okay.
Yeah? So to begin with, what's your favorite cuisine?
I like dal chawal.
Okay. Your favorite music, probably if you have a low day and you can probably hear it 7 days a week just to soothe you down.
I love listening to the Om chanting sound.
Okay.
That is my favorite.
Okay. Your current favorite read?
I love to read newspapers. I love to read what is happening in the political arena.
One motto you stand by?
I believe in perseverance, and I'll be honest, I quite believe in honesty, even if that means that I will get a bash. But I feel that let me just say it so that I don't have to have the burden of what I said that time.
Okay. One of your favorite holiday destinations? It can be in India or...
I like to go to my mother's place.
Okay.
That is in Calcutta.
In Calcutta.
That's my
itself.
holiday destination.
Okay. Also, tell me, what is according to you a difference between the millennials and Gen Zs of today? The one difference.
Okay, yeah, I think food is a very, very big difference that I see. They really love to eat outside a lot,
Right.
but I mean, I have seen it very closely, so I just said it that way. And second is, I have seen that they only listen to themselves.
Right.
They are not very keen to listen to what point of view you may have.
Right. And what is that one thing, you don't leave the house without?
Without doing pranam to my mother-in-law.
Oh, wow. And just want to now come to a positive message from your side to the viewers, to the youth of today who's watching us, to the women,
Okay.
who are looking up to you, So what is that message from your side directly to the
Yeah.
viewers who's watching us today?
Okay, I have a very strong two messages, and that is, one is, don't consider that marriage or motherhood actually breaks your career. It doesn't, because I'm a testament to it. You just have to concentrate, and you just have to have the power of coming back. These days, the medical science is doing so well, so you need not take long breaks as we had to take. So never think that, okay, my marriage or my motherhood is going to be a break to my career, and therefore I do not want to get into it. I don't think that's correct. We should enjoy our lives in all phases, because today you may think this is fine, but you should also think about tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And the second message is, never be in too much of a hurry. If things are just not going the right way today, believe you me, tomorrow will never be the same. It will be better. So we just have to, just let that worst period of our life just get away. we just kind of start doing too many things to mend it or to forcibly mend it, and it actually then goes for the worse. So I would just like to tell you that by my experience, sometimes dark days are there, but have to believe me that the brighter days just waits in the fence to come. We just have to let that go.
First of all, I would like to thank you, so much for giving this so much time. I'm sure everyone watching us today has been so inspired, especially the women also of today. There's so much of opportunities that India offers. It's just the right kind of opportunity and the patience one must have to grab the right ones. So thank you so much again for this episode, and it's been truly, truly a pleasure and an honor to do this with you.
No, same here.
So
thank you so much.
so much.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much for listening.
Thank you.